Hello, my dear students. Hope you're doing well. We will continue Lesson 3, The Pharaohs, and Lesson 4, Art in Ancient Egypt, in this PowerPoint presentation. I will show you some videos for the lesson, so kindly watch and focus.
As you probably know, the ancient Egyptian civilization thrived around the Nile River Valley. Because of this river valley, agriculture boomed and population grew. Eventually, leaders emerged and took control of the entire civilization. We're going to take a closer look at a few of these rulers that controlled ancient Egypt during the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms. During these three periods of stability and unity, the ancient Egyptian leaders, known as pharaohs, had many great accomplishments. During the Old Kingdom, pharaohs set up a central government and built great tombs for themselves. In the Middle Kingdom, great achievements in literature, art, and architecture were made. The New Kingdom, also known as Egypt's Golden Age, was a time of stability and peace. During all three periods, pharaohs held supreme power. They were the kings, military generals, and religious leaders of the land. They were in charge of everything. Pharaoh Khufu ruled from 2551 to 2528 BCE. He is responsible for the Great Pyramid at Giza. Not too much is known about Pharaoh Khufu. There are contradictory stories about his reign. It is generally accepted that Khufu helped establish the pharaoh as the person in charge in ancient Egypt. Much like pharaohs that followed him, Khufu declared himself a god. Khufu was responsible for building the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the wonders of the world. The Great Pyramid would be Khufu's final resting place, as his soul entered the afterlife. It took more than 2 million stone blocks and more than 20 years to complete. Pharaoh Senusret I ruled from 1971 to 1926 BCE. Art, literature, and architecture flourished during his reign. Since the pharaoh controlled gold, copper, and gem mines, craftspeople thrived with abundant resources. Jewelry was made with these precious metals and gems. Senusret also built and improved many temples, shrines, and religious monuments across the Egyptian civilization. The White Chapel is a prime example of his religious architectural achievements. The craftsmanship is evident in the detailed carvings all throughout the temple. Unfortunately, a later pharaoh took the White Chapel apart to use in his own monument. Archaeologists discovered the pieces of the White Chapel and reconstructed it. Pharaoh Hatshepsut ruled from 1473 to 1458 BCE. She was Egypt's first female ruler, and she demanded the same respect as a male ruler. As pharaoh, she promoted trade with other countries. Her biggest trade expedition was to the African kingdom of Punt, which brought back many exotic goods. Hatshepsut's monument was built into a cliff above the Nile River. The entrance of this magnificent monument was graced by 200 Sphinx statues. Inside the temple, the walls were decorated with carvings that detailed scenes from Hatshepsut's reign. The pharaoh Ramses II ruled from 1290 to 1224 BCE. This pharaoh wasn't nicknamed Ramses the Great for nothing. He was one of the most important rulers in Egyptian history. Here's Ramses by the numbers. He was made captain in the Egyptian army at age 10. He ruled for more than 60 years. He had more than 100 wives and more than 100 children. He also had hundreds of statues of himself erected all over Egypt. His temple complex at Abu Simbel is an excellent example of his impressive building projects. 4 giant statues of himself guard the entrance to the main temple. The inside is just as amazing as the outside. The temple was also built so that twice a year the sun would shine down the hallway to light up the statues. Ramses is also one of the better preserved mummies ever discovered. There have been about 170 pharaohs to rule ancient Egypt. Here are a few notable leaders. Menes is considered the first because he united Upper and Lower Egypt and founded the first dynasty. Cleopatra VII is considered the last. Shortly after her reign, Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. King Tutankhamun was the youngest. He is possibly the best known pharaoh today because his tomb was nearly intact when discovered. Akhenaten is known for turning ancient Egypt into a monotheistic religion, polytheistic soon after his death. There are quite a few other pharaohs, but I only have 5 minutes, so that's all for now. Here are some sources. Mummification, Ancient Egypt. The
ancient Egyptians believed in several rituals in order to reach the afterlife into the next world and achieve immortality. Death was seen as a temporary state, and a dead person's spirit needed a body, so to preserve it, a process of mummification was used. This process and quality of the mummification varied depending on the person's status and wealth. The highest ranks in society got the best method of preservation after they died. Firstly, the body was washed in water and salt. The brain was then removed and discarded using a hook through the nostrils. The body was then slit open and the organs were removed, except for the heart, which the ancient Egyptians believed would guide the person into the afterlife. The liver, lungs, intestines, and stomach were kept and placed in 4 canopic jars, one for each organ. These jars each featured a lid sculpted as one of the sons of Horus: Hapi, who protected the lungs; Duamutef, the stomach; Imseti, the liver; and Qebessennef, the intestines. The body was then filled with myrrh, cassia, and other spices, then sewn up together and packed with a special salt called natron for up to 70 days, which prevented the flesh from rotting. After this process, the body was shriveled and dehydrated, so the embalmers would stuff the empty body with sawdust and linen to bring it back to its original shape, oil the skin to soften it, and add false eyes and a wig to make the corpse more lifelike. A resin was used to cover the body to prevent mold, and then the whole corpse was wrapped in layers of linen bandages. A face mask was made to look like the person, then was placed on the head of the corpse, and the body was placed into a wooden case, or if the person were rich, a stone sarcophagus. Mummies would be buried with items they might have needed for the afterlife, including jewelry, clothes, furniture, even pet cats and dogs who were mummified as well to keep them company. The less expensive method for the middle classes, or those who wished to avoid the expense, involved the corpse being injected with oil taken from cedar trees, liquefying the internal organs. It was then packed with natron for up to 70 days and given back to the family. The Egyptian embalmers were so skilled that even today, people that were mummified thousands of years ago still have some recognizable features.
You can see here symbols.
Ancient Egyptian language, Khubatanbah, the Book of Rites, Invocation of the God Self. Nuk Biramanu wa Abib, Birab wa Abishat, Akshaemt Ud'a. Invocation of overcoming karma.
Can you see the translation English? I have made my way and standing behind the throne on the day of driving back disaster.
Invocation of soul memory. Nuk arisapu en enti unin nakakpunhin at auks sa kishumat abu san ehbak charek. Invocation of astral flight. Bana
May I fly, may I gather myself together.
Rite of initiatory blessing. Ha, ib, ran khachidan dut, aat awinek ertaen kishabut, nekashi. Invocation of divine identity. An aw unanibit en ta'rasu, mah mahi, mah amindi, mah abda, uwa, em kishatan. Nuk waab em maat view, mit'a em nimu, at'a em kishatan, arua em kishut'a, nuk ura kish akshut, tasaryu kharasan er'a, nuk unyu. Invocation of the divine beloved. Wabana em iyo, jura unok marin. Ba, ushapuit, meh igwa, amunwa, emamehtu, kamamut nuchar sakiru. Rite of healing. Aw sauna suhut, tuyent nukuk aur, ruchas, aksha, sasuchas niwo, sisitaru, unu tabhet asan. Nihsu em khatib, nihsu em nafir, nibat, khutbich, wabana em khatib, wabana em nafir, nutrit en ang, nafir em bit em khatib, ta em khatib, nutrit si atkeb, mariu ausir, nutrit achharin, ano khabrak,